Hi, it's Miss Hancock. Today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing integers in real world problems. Our standards that we're going to talk about today is 7.NS.2a, 7.NS.2b, and 7.NS.3. That 7.NS.3 is just basically about story problems. The 2a and the 2b is about multiplying and dividing. So for us to go ahead and get started, we're going to review our rules on multiplying and dividing integers. So our rule is this: if you have, if both terms have like signs, like they're either both positive or both negative, then the solution will be positive. If the terms have unlike signs, one is positive and one is negative, then the solution will be negative. Also, we're going to take a moment and we're going to look at telling words. Words that tell us whether the number is going to be positive or negative. So we're going to start out with the word deposit. Deposit tells us that we're going to put money into a bank, so that would be positive. And there's the key right there. If we withdraw money, that means that we're going to take it out, and that would be negative. Okay. Also, if you get a bonus on a test, that would increase your grade. But if your teacher deducts points, that would be taken away. If the temperature rises, if the word is rise, that's a positive word. If it falls or drops, that would be negative. Okay. Also, if it is above sea level, that's a positive. If it is below sea level, that is a negative. If the football team gains yardage, that would be a positive. If they have a loss, that would be a negative. Also, if like the balloon goes up in the air, that's a positive. If it goes down, that would be a negative. So those are some words that are telling words that you need to be familiar with. If you want to write those down, hit pause and write them down. That way that you'll have it. Okay, now we're going to go on to our next slide, and we're going to look at an actual problem. You'll notice I have the telling words over here. I also have the rules for multiplying and dividing integers at the bottom of the screen. So first we're going to start out with, what do we know? A football team loses a total of 15 yards in 3 plays. On average, how many yards does the team move per play? Well, this is a key right here. Loses a total of 15. Well, loses means that it's going to be a negative 15. And this is important right here. This is a total. They lost a total of 15 yards, and they lost it in 3 plays. Now, right here is key. It says on average, how many yards does the team move per play? Well, average is going to tell us to divide. The average per play, meaning that I want to know how much one play is. So this is going to tell me to divide. And remember, when you have per play, per one play, that is like a unit rate. So let's not forget unit rate as well. All right, so my problem, I know that I'm going to divide. So I'm going to say negative 15 divided by 3. And guys, you will notice that if I'm dividing, most of the time I'm going to put it in a fraction. Okay. So I have a negative divided by a positive. Those are unlike signs. So my solution will be negative, and 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Now I'm going to do a statement that answers the question. On average, how many yards does the team move per play? The team lost 5 yards per play. Okay, so that would be our key no problem statements. We like to do that to make sure that we're getting all the information and make sure we're answering the question. Okay, and you notice I didn't put a negative 5 here. I put the word loss in place of negative so that you can tell that that is a negative number there. Okay, all right, let's go to the next problem. And this is it right here. It says the temperature dropped 6 degrees per hour after 10 hours. What was the total change in the temperature? So My no on this would be, I know that it dropped 6 degrees per hour, and drop tells me that's going to be a -6, so -6 degrees per hour. So it dropped 6 degrees every hour. Okay. All right. What was the total change in temperature? And it had for 10 hours. So for 10 hours. And we want to know what was the total change. We're looking for total this time. So we're not going to divide. If we're given total, we will probably divide. But if we're not given the total and we're looking for total, then we would probably multiply on this. And it says -6 per hour. You can actually create just a little chart right here with the hours and the temperature, and that would help you a lot as well. It's just a way to strategize and try to figure it out. For 1 hour, I'm at -6 degrees. At 2 hours, I'm at -12 degrees. At 3 hours, -18. What's happening here? Every single time, what you're doing is you're multiplying by -6. So that means that if I want to know after 10 hours and I multiply by -6, that's going to give me -60. So my problem would be -6 times 10. That gives me -60. And my statement would be the total temperature change I'm going to abbreviate that, would be a drop of 60 degrees. Okay, again, notice I didn't put a negative right there. I just said a drop of 60 degrees. So that would be our no problem statements for that particular problem. Now, let's go on to the next problem, and this is the last one that we're going to talk about on this lesson. It says that a balloon rose 48 feet in 6 seconds. How many feet did it rise per second? So this is what I know. I know that there was a total of 48 feet that the balloon rose, and that's going to be a positive because it says it rose. You can look over here. If it's rise, that's a positive. And 6 seconds. Okay. Now, remember, time will always be positive. You can't have a negative time. We can't go back in time, so time is positive. So 48 feet in 6 seconds. How many feet did it rise per second? Now, this is wanting to know how much did it rise in 1 second? And that is a unit rate. And what does unit rate tell us to do? Unit rate is going to tell us to divide. So I'm going to take my total. This is my problem part, 48 divided by 6. And that's 48 feet that it rose. And this is 6 seconds. And when you divide that, that gives me 8 feet per second. And so my statement would be the balloon rose 8 feet per second. And guys, the reason I want you to write the statement is because when you write it and read it back, you get to think about it and see, well, does that make sense? Because what we want to know is make sure that when we answer the question, it's not some crazy answer, that it really answers the question and it makes sense. So the balloon rose 8 feet per second. And that's all I got for today. Check out the next video, and y'all have a good day.